Hello everyone, so this is a kind of different video that I'm making today because I talk about this topic. I don't really mention it much out of how it affects my life, but if you know someone with ADD or you have ADD or you don't even know what ADD is, let me here to educate you of what it is and like kind of signs of it and my kind of story of having it. So ADD is attention deficit disorder, which means that it's kind of hard for you to pay attention to one thing for a certain amount of time. Oh my god. I'm like right now because I kind of thought about what I was going to talk about in this video and now I'm kind of like right now. So I failed 5th grade because of my ADD, because school was just, it's kind of like that year where it was going to middle school, like the final year of elementary before you go into middle school. And so I was just ready for 5th grade. I was all excited for it. Just to remind you now, that was 3-4 years ago, I think. So having ADD was very hard for me because I don't know how to communicate very well with certain people, because I just have a hard time communicating, like what I'm thinking about, like how to tell someone either what I'm thinking or like an emotion I'm feeling or just say what's on my mind. I just could not do that. I'm like working on it now. I'm actually really good at communicating, like to people. And I'm working on not saying too much and not saying too little at the same time. So in the 5th grade, I didn't know really how to talk about certain things. I didn't really know. I couldn't pay attention too well because the teacher would be, here's an assignment, do it tonight, or like get an F tomorrow morning. She did not tell me that, but that was her rule. So obviously I didn't return all my homework in. I just had a really hard time in this teacher's class, and like it was just one of the worst years that I had to deal with because I ended up failing the class, and I almost had to go into summer school, but I was on like the waiting list the entire summer of going to summer school, so I'm like, this is stupid. So now I'm done with middle school, so now I'm going on to high school, which is a completely other video. But 5th grade was hard, and so some kind of signs that you could tell if a kid does have ADD, which is like how they communicate with some people, because I love to talk about everything. I have a mind-blowing mind. Literally. So my brother's being very loud in the background. So a kind of thing that I usually did if I was talking to people, I just never ever made eye contact. I would always just I wouldn't look in their eyes, but I would look at their face, kind of like their facial features. But I would make it in a way, I don't know how I did it, but I would make it in a way where it looks like I'm looking at your eye. I don't know how I did it, but I somehow managed to do it, but I'm learning to do eye contact, but it gets a little awkward for me. So, as you can tell, I am like looking around things around the room because it's hard to focus on one thing. Another thing is like, classroom-wise, like if a kid has ADD, this kid cannot sit down and read a book. They probably could, but it would be either really hard for them to actually focus into a book, or they're like all over the place, like they don't even open the book yet and they already either know what the book's about, they already read it, or that kind of thing. So I have been reading the same book for probably 3 years now because I haven't even finished it yet. And that's because my friend recommended it to me, and it's a series, and I'm still on the third book after like 2-3 years. And that's because I have ADD, and whenever I know I was getting distracted, I would just point my finger to it, or just kind of... I'm, like, the worst person at reading. I would, like, read, like, half a page and then be done. It's like, okay, I cannot stay focused on this book. And sometimes the signs of actually knowing if a kid does have ADD, either take him to, like, take him to a professional instead of watch a YouTube video, but continue this video and like it at the end, because I have no views. But anyways, so if some signs that a kid does have ADD is that if it's kind of social-wise, where it's making friends, which would be, like, very, very hard for this child to make friends, because either their ADD is, like, taking over their life and they just can't focus, or they're all over the place. It's kind of like A.D.H.D, but less hyper. Right? Yeah. Kind of thinking this through here. So, another thing I would like to talk about, kind of, is my family. So, this is kind of interesting, is that my mom has OCD, my dad has autism, my older brother has A.S.D, and my second brother has autism, and I have A.D.D. We are not much of a functional family, but my mom's side of the family is just kind of, like, some kids have, like, A.D.H.D, some kid, like, I think I have only, like, 3 or 4 cousins who have A.D.H.D, and this family's a pretty big family because of my grandma and grandpa on that side of the family. But on my dad's side, I have, like, 9 cousins who have autism, which is, like, a more effective... It's a more effective... I don't want to call it a disorder, but I don't know what to call it at the same time. So, I think my mom is telling me to shush any moment now and go to bed. So I'm going to just wrap up this video here. If you have any questions about what ADD is, I could probably answer them, and I'll probably just make a Q&A about my ADD in another video. So that's basically it for today. And if you watched this video all the way through, please give it a like. It would really help me out here. So please subscribe, comment, subscribe, and goodbye.